So beyond the blue wave in the House, we have some truly excellent news coming out of the middle of the country, a rejection of Republican politics that have dominated there for far too long and have decimated the working class, specifically in Kansas and Wisconsin. Both states rejected Republican governors running and elected Democrats as the governors of their states. So while we had some terrible news coming out of the South, with Stacey Abrams projected to lose in Georgia, God knows if she was or wasn't cheated out of the victory since her opponent oversaw the election, which is absolutely bonkers, and Andrew Gillum losing a close one to Ron DeSantis, but we had some good news out of the Midwest. Perhaps it's time for Democrats to embrace unions again and focus on the Rust Belt. Let's break it down. Democrats flipped the governorships in Wisconsin, Kansas, Maine, Michigan, Illinois, Nevada, and New Mexico. In Wisconsin, Democrat Tony Evers bested Governor Scott Walker, once a Republican star who ran for president in 2016. Walker survived a hard-fought recall vote in 2012 and was re-elected in 2014, only to be denied a third term by the state school superintendent. And I'll say it in plainer terms than the New York Times really wants to say, but Scott Walker was a Koch brother darling. They donated millions upon millions upon millions to his governor's campaign, and he basically did as he was told. He was a champion of right-wing policies like union busting and completely took power away from workers and gave it to corporations, just like his donors told him to. But because he was funneling all of the state money to pro-business interests, the school systems were getting hurt in the state, which is why Tony Evers, Wisconsin superintendent, beat him. More on Walker and why it's so important that he's out. Under Mr. Walker, Republican leaders went on to cut taxes, approve a voter ID rule, expand school vouchers, make Wisconsin a right-to-work state, and allow concealed weapons. The state agreed to provide $3 billion in tax credits so that Foxconn, a Taiwanese electronics company, could build a campus in southeast Wisconsin. But now Wisconsin is back to leaning blue like it had been traditionally seen in the past. These people there were sick of Republican rule, and it showed, but no state really has been more decimated by Republican policies than Kansas, arguably in the past few years. Republican Governor Sam Brownback cut taxes for the rich, and in general too, dramatically, and this was the result. Overall growth and job creation in Kansas underperformed both the national economy and neighboring states. The tax cuts did produce one explosion, however. The state's budget deficit was expected to hit $280 million this year, despite major spending reductions. Kansas falls well below national averages in a wide range of public services, from K-12 education to housing to police and fire protection. Devastating. And despite being traditionally deep red, voters had finally had enough. In Kansas, Democrat Laura Kelly defeated Secretary of State Chris Kobach, another Trump ally who is known for his unapologetic hardline views on immigration and who was the face of Trump's anti-voter fraud panel. Ah yes, Chris Kobach, the godfather of voter suppression in his state. He was basically eyeing the governorship all along, setting up voter suppression to pave his way to victory. How sweet it is that it didn't work out for him. This is all fantastic news. It's great to see bad leaders and morally corrupt individuals like Kobach and Walker lose, so Wisconsin and Kansas will now have some semblance of representation.
On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.